Whenever you're answering your questions for the interview, especially if you had a bad experience previously in a job, just try to make it positive. You know, even if you had a manager before that didn't like you or did not want to help you grow and develop, you don't even have to go into that detail. Just let them know you decided to leave and explore other opportunities. And be prepared for all different types of interviews, because you can have a one-on-one interview, you can have a panel interview, a group interview. There are behavioral type interviews. And the behavioral type interviews are interviews where they're trying to see what your response and how you answer. What's your natural behavior? Yes, ma'am.
Is that behavioral one is kind of similar to where you have to have an assessment before? So.
There are some that will do an assessment before, but these questions that they're asking you during the interview will dictate, they want to see what your behavior is like. So they may ask you a question like, tell me about a time in which your manager gave you negative feedback and how did you respond? What was the outcome? You know, that's your behavior. They're wanting to know if somebody basically tells you something that's not positive about yourself or about your performance, how are you going to respond? And the best answer to that is, there was a time in which my manager asked me to run a different report, right? The report that my manager was asking for wasn't even a report that was, that we used. So it's normally not my responsibility to do the report. However, I took on the challenge to create a whole report. It took me maybe a day or two extra to generate the report, but I was able to respond back to my manager. And then I communicated with my manager that if there's a new report that needs to be communicated, it takes me about 2 days to communicate it. So can you give me 2 days to work on it to make sure that I give it to you before your deadline? And that's how we handled it. So that shows to the person that just interviewed you, not only can I give you a task that you don't normally have, but you did it and you communicated back to me how long it takes you to get it done so that we can do it better going forward. So it's like a behavior one. Is that okay?